Hey folks, Bill here with Rawlings Farm. Do you remember that feeling of getting up Christmas morning, rushing out to the living room to see what was underneath the tree? Well, that's the same feeling that we get every time a doe gives birth. Today I would like to go over with you what we have on hand in preparation for kidding season, as well as some tips of what we've done that hasn't worked, and then we'll go over how we use those products that we use here on our newborn kids. So here are our must-haves for kidding season. First is a sling and a scale. We use the sling to put the baby goat in. It's good for carrying, and it's also good for holding the goat while we do the rest of the processing. We weigh the goat because we like to have that birth weight to figure out the rate of daily gain later in the year. Next we have ear tags and an ear tagger. These are for identification purposes, so we can track a baby back to its mother. We use this selenium and vitamin E product to prevent white muscle disease. White muscle disease is caused by a deficiency in selenium. Next is iodine. We use the iodine to sanitize the navel so bacteria doesn't get into the bloodstream. We use a product called Probias to give to the mothers. The Probias is a probiotic which provides microorganisms that help the stomach digest food and increases the feed efficiency. Just in case, we keep some towels or rags on hand in case we need to dry off a newborn goat. We also keep some lube on hand in case we need to help in the delivery of a newborn goat. It's always a good idea to have a feeding tube on hand for those weak goats that can't nurse. This is a 60cc syringe and a catheter. Another feeding supply is a bottle and a nipple. This is a used bottle and a Pritchard teat. You can buy these at almost any place now, about $3. So for $3 you're able to feed them kids that need supplemental milk. We've been blessed to never have to use colostrum, but it's good to have some colostrum on hand in case you lose a doe before the kids get their first colostrum. This will help give the kid antibodies to fight diseases and bacteria and just create a healthy immune system in the kid. We also use a product called Terramycin eye ointment. If a kid gets a runny eye, it's always a good idea to treat that eye with a little bit of ointment to clear up the eye so you don't have further problems down the road. And last of all, you need something to record your information on. So when we process kids, we write down the mother's number, the kid's number, the sex of the kid, the color of the kid, and the weight. So I usually record it on my phone, but that's what I'm taping with. So a piece of paper and a pen, a phone is always a good thing to have to record your data. Over the years, I've learned two things when processing baby goats, and that's the proper type of identification. The first type of identification I used was these little brass lambing tags. You just clip them in the ear and it stays. Well, they're not as easy to remove, so I usually left them in, but as the goat grows, the ear grows about 10 times the size. So as the goat grows, it rips into the ear and just rips a slit in the ear. So I didn't like the slits in the top of the ears on my goats, so I stopped using these brass lambing tags. So then I moved to a one-piece plastic tag. So you snap this into the ear. It kind of works as like the brass lambing tag, but you can cut it out easy. But then I started having goats get their ear tags stuck in the fence. And as they pull away, they rip a hole in their ear. So I didn't like the slits in my goat's ears either. So we did away with these. So now we're on to these two-piece tags. They work really well because they're in two pieces. If you can't get it stuck in anything, so then we don't have ripped ears. Plus you can cut it out and put a more permanent ear tag in for a little longer down the road. So today we have a set of triplets to process. So I'm going to go and get them. I usually set them in the aisle here with me, and then I'll work through them, and then I'll take all three of them back to the mom at once. So when I first started developing a system for processing the kids, I started with the males first because the male kids are usually bigger than the females. But today, I think our male will be smaller than the females. Okay, so we got the baby in the sling. I usually like to tip the sling a little forward so the baby is pressing against the strap to help hold it in. This is so it doesn't fall out, and it just secures it better. And our system is by no means fancy. I have the scale hanging on a zip tie up here on the electric conduit. So, but everything's insulated, so there's no danger. So this one weighs 8 pounds. So, and he's a boy. So, for identification purposes, and so when they're in a bigger group, I can identify, well, that one's a boy or that one's a girl. I put the ear tags for the males in the right ear and in the left ear for the females. So we got a little boy here. So we'll just take the ear and I'll hold the inside up so I can see the veins. And you want to put the ear tag in between the veins. So I'm going to just pick a spot in the middle. It's not hitting the vein, and I'm just going to squeeze. And that just hurts for a minute. They give out a little squeal, but then they're all better. So he's got his identification. Now we'll give him his 2 cc's of the selenium and vitamin E gel. So I just hold him, and I work the, I kind of open the mouth, work the syringe into the side of the mouth, and squeeze. And then I just leave it in here and let him lick it off good so he gets all the selenium that he's supposed to. So we've got his weight, he's ear tagged, he's got his selenium. So now we're going to spray the navel to sanitize the navel. I usually like to sanitize the navel when they're still wet, but his is dry, so we're going to just give him a spray. And it can still burn a little bit, so they're going to kick a little. So next we got his sister, and we're probably going to work totally backwards today. This is probably the medium weight one, but here we go. So we got her in the sling. We're going to weigh her. And she's 8 pounds as well. Okay, so I got the tag ready. Girl, left ear. So I'm going to hold the ear up. No veins in the middle. Give it a little squeeze. And there she is. Hold her and give her her selenium. Let her lick it off. And it's nice to have these hay bales sitting here so I can set them on there, kind of support them as I take them out of the sling. I'll spray the navel, and she's ready to go. So of course, the last one has ran all the way back to the pen. And the last one is 9.5 pounds. So again, flip the ear up, look for the center of the ear, away from any of the veins, and just press. And you can also twirl it, make sure that it moves freely. Two cc's. Let her lick it off. Give it some iodine. And there you have it. That's how we process our newborn kids. Another thing to keep in mind when ear tagging, make sure that you put the male end to the inside of the ear. When you hold up the ear, you can see the veins running through. So if you hold it up, and you can make sure that you miss the veins. This is just a good practice so that you don't hit one of those veins, and the effect would be the ear will curl up or it will be deformed as the kid grows. So now for the question of the day. What kidding supplies are must-haves for your operation? And if you're new to the goat industry, what questions do you have after watching this video? Well, that's all I have for today. I hope you found our kidding supplies and how we use these supplies on our newborn kids valuable. I'm by no means an expert in farming, but I hope that the information I've provided and our experiences are of some value to you. If you enjoyed today's video and would like to see more, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.